Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello. Welcome to Viewer Discretion is Advised. I am Mike, your host, and today we're joined with my friend Jay and Gator, as well as we have a very special guest, the legendary Casey Kasem. Thanks for joining us, Casey.
I'm Casey Kasem, and I've been revived by a cultist colony in the southernmost part of Georgia. They sacrificed a goat for a blood ritual to resurrect my soul. Also, they had to make a bargain with Satan himself. I'm Casey Kasem.
Wow, Casey, it sounds like you've been quite busy. So, yeah, we very much appreciate you taking the time to join our podcast.
Yeah, no problem, Michael. I have limited time here on Earth because I'm an ethereal spirit just wandering the plains of southern Georgia. I just happened to be here because you ran into me and emailed my old email.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. I'm Casey Kasem, and I'm here for the podcast.
That's great, Casey. All right. So one question I really wanted to ask you, Casey, in particular, if you may have heard, obviously Chrono Cross is now out for the rework has been made. I know that you were quite the fan of Chrono Trigger way back in the day. I remember you rating that on your top billboard on your radio show. But as far as JRPGs are concerned, I mean, where does Chrono Cross really rank for you?
Well, that's a great question, man. Chrono Cross ranks as one of my top 20 JRPGs of all time.
What about Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger is my number one JRPG of all time. I really like just the story and the overall arch of the game. I thought it was spectacular. From Robo to Chrono to Magus and Frog, all characters have their own depths to them, and inner workings and stories that are just superb.
Excellent, Casey. That's really great insight. Gator, do you have any questions for Casey?
Number one, I just got to say it's very impressive that you found a way to channel the dead. I don't
It wasn't easy.
I don't think we need to do this podcast thing if you can, you can communicate with people in the afterworld. So, very good stuff. I'm gonna have to learn your secret.
Yeah, actually, no. It's really about all who you know, and I've got a really great friend. His name is John Edwards. You used to have a popular TV show, but it's all about who you know. It's great to have friends with people in the right circle.
I'm sensing. Is there someone with a J over here? I'm picking up a J over here.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
All right. So Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. I never really got into those myself. I think I might have played a few minutes, but I'm actually looking forward to giving it a shot once the release is or the re-release is out. And I've always liked Final Fantasy and like Secret of Mana. That was a game back in Super Nintendo.
That's a good one.
Super Mario RPG, stuff like that. So I'm actually looking forward to picking this up and playing through it for my first time.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I actually, Gator, I loved Super Mario RPG. That was that and Earthbound. Those were the best Super Nintendo RPG games in my opinion. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, those are. I would say Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy. What is it? 3 in Japan and like 6 in the States. That game is very slept on too. It's a very good game.
Agreed. Cool. Well, moving on. So other news. I think about a month ago. So we had heard news that CD Projekt Red, they actually kind of putting a hold. There was a delay they put on Cyberpunk, the DLC. And it sounds like that's not coming out till sometime next year. And they've even pushed back the PS5 release of Witcher 3, but we did hear news that they are working on The Witcher 4, which certainly gets me excited. I know, Gator, you're a fan of Witcher, correct?
Oh yeah, fan of the game, and I've read a handful of the books as well. So I'm a big fan of the series, and the show wasn't bad either on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched the show. I liked it.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think we all watched the show. I never read the books.
Yeah,
I mean,
just with the bumbling of the Cyberpunk release, I'm probably going to wait a little bit
Oh yeah,
for CD Projekt Red, and just to see how the initial release is, to make sure it's not riddled with bugs, because I don't want to get a super buggy product right away, and then it just ruins kind of the experience. Then I get pissed and don't play it for a couple months until they patch it, and then I'm bored with it by then, or I've moved on to something else. So yeah, I guess I want to wait and see what the release looks like. Hopefully, they don't rush it. Hopefully they take their time, and they're able to release a great product, because Witcher 3, when it was released, was like fantastic out of the gate. I remember buying it the
yeah.
first week, I believe.
That was going to be my question, because I I bought the game when it came out. I had no idea what Witcher was. I bought the game and hated it. Like I played
Really?
it. Yeah, yeah. So I played it for like up to the Griffin, right? Where you fight that Griffin boss. And I was so bored with it. It was back in the time I was playing Destiny. And it's just, I was really bored by the vanilla gameplay. It felt that way to me. But I literally, like a year and a half ago, I went back to Witcher 3 because my brother was playing it and he loved it, and he started getting into the books, and of course the show came out, and so I'm like, okay. And so I played it, and I kind of trashed the gameplay as a joke, and I just kind of played it on easy just to get through the story, but I enjoyed it so much that I went back and played it on the hardest difficulty and maxed the game out. So it's just funny how I am. But so there wasn't really a lot of like glitches or anything like that when it was first released. Obviously, I knew it was buttoned up by the time I really went back and actually really played it. But so they actually did a pretty good job from the start.
Yeah, and that's that seems to be the common theme on a lot of these AAA releases now, is obviously they're rushed and they can't really go through it with a fine-tooth comb
Right.
and find all those little bugs and make sure it's playable on day one. So
Yeah, it was a
guess
sad
we'll wait
story.
and see on that.
Yeah, it's like, there was so much anticipation there, but in reality, they really only kind of really made one really, really good game, unless there's one I'm forgetting. I did play Witcher 2. I love Witcher 2, but it's not Witcher 3. It's very, very linear. But I did like hooking up with Vess. That was great, and the Triss romance scene was top notch as well.
Steamy, very steamy.
Oh, it was a steamy scene. I agree.
I go back and I replay that once a week at least when I'm feeling lonely.
Yeah, and when no one's around, right?
I
Yeah.
quite like that scene too, Michael. This is Casey Kasem.
We should
Casey.
should
Oh,
go
so it
through.
sounds like Casey's back. So here's my question: You, as far as Witcher 3 is concerned, Yennefer or Triss?
Ooh, boy.
I think I know your answer, because if you're a book guy, I think I know your answer.
Yeah, I think it's Yennefer for me. I kind of like the darker, gothier chick in Yennefer.
Jade, what's your take?
I don't know about you guys, but I really like Geralt.
Okay.
I'm with
Yeah.
you there.
Why are you laughing?
I mean, he's a pretty hot commodity.
Yeah, I mean he gets all the ladies, and from all the stuff I've seen from you and your brother playing, especially your brother. Your brother is very into those scenes where he has interactions with the lady NPC characters and their side quests. If not, that's some of the only stuff he does in the game for the most part.
I feel like Geralt always has an excuse to pop his shirt off too, and that can have an effect on men and women also.
Yes, and well, he always has he finds a way of that, of course, and then let's not forget, mixing in a game of Gwent or two.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
strip Gwent. I mean, I'm in. So yeah, that's the thing about Witcher is you can get sidetracked with the side quests, which are, I don't know, there's hundreds to do throughout the game, and then you could really sink your time into building the best Gwent deck in the land. And I think you can play almost everyone in a game of Gwent and win cards off them. So it's a real big time sink if you get into that game. Try and steer clear from the Gwent if you're trying to clear the story as fast as possible.
Yeah, but I would say that Gwent is probably among one of my favorite RPG mini games I've played. The card game in Final Fantasy VIII I loved, but I also actually kind of really liked Blitzball in Final Fantasy X. But outside of that, yeah, oh man, that was great. But no, I loved that. But ideally, and this may be a question more so suited for you, Gator, Witcher 4, what's your take? What do you, obviously, it sounds like Geralt's not even going to be in the picture. So what would be kind of the ideal setting for you? Yeah. From what I've read is they're actually moving on from Geralt. So we're now going to be kind of in a different world. I think the consensus view is that we're probably going to be playing with Ciri, but
yeah,
which I would love. But I don't know. They could even just throw us a curveball and almost take like the Bethesda approach where you kind of create your own character and maybe it's not like a preset character in the story. I don't really know which one I lean. I hope that they stick with Ciri. I think there's so much story that could be told, and really it's kind of what makes sense. I think the way that Witcher 3 kind of left off, I guess depending on what ending you got, of course.
Yeah, so or they might do like they did a couple times in Witcher 3 where they jump around characters. Like you would play Ciri for a chapter and then it would jump to Geralt for a big chunk. Granted, it didn't jump around that much, but they might do that approach too.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that.
But either way, that's going to do it for today. Jay, Gator, and I want to thank our special guest, Casey Kasem, for joining us on the cast. It was really nice to get a fresh perspective from someone we haven't heard from for a while. And be sure to tune in for the next episode. There's going to be plenty to talk about. In fact, I, for one, just picked up Elden Ring last week, so we're certainly going to be chatting about that. So thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you on the next cast.